Isn't it an amazingly beautiful day to hear in the house that our fabulous alumni, Myra and Renee Luskin, built? What a beautiful night. For those of you I've not had a chance to meet yet, I have truly the honor and privilege of waking up each and every day and serving as your alumni director. Tonight is a very special night for the UCLA family. Since 1946, no, I was not born quite yet, UCLA has paid tribute to its most distinguished luminaries and brightest stars. From larger-than-life legends to community sheroes and heroes, UCLA Awards are bestowed upon Bruins who have brought great honor and distinction to our university. Your Alumni Association is absolutely thrilled to be celebrating these extraordinary UCLA citizens within this wonderful, beautiful Bruin community. The mission of the UCLA Alumni Association is to enrich the lives of alumni and involve them, engage them in UCLA's future. This association is proud to support more than 500,000 Bruins across the globe. Through engaging events and spirited traditions, rewarding volunteer opportunities, robust career workshops, and the joy of supporting scholarships and fellowships. From Westwood to New York, from both poles and every continent, this association helps to harness the incredible energy and enthusiasm that defines being a Bruin. And we are very honored that our lead Bruin, Chancellor Block, and Associate Chancellor, Mrs. Carol Block, are with us tonight. Welcome. And to the many volunteer leaders across the campus, but especially to our Alumni Board of Directors, a heartfelt thank you for your attendance and your support. If you're on the Alumni Association board or about to be on our board, could you please stand and allow us to recognize you? And to our Gold, Life, and Blue members, thank you for your membership, which powers programs and services, not only for our alumni, but also for our future leaders, most importantly, our legacy, our students. And this evening, we have the joy of honoring 7 magnificent human beings and 1 extraordinary organization. So, we're going to get the show started and meet these very special Bruins, but please continue to enjoy your salad, perhaps your adult beverages, while we present our first awards.
Every choice that I've made personally and professionally has been focused on this idea of how can I make the most impact? How can I use my skills, my experiences, and ultimately who I am to make the world a better place in some way? And I've dedicated my career to this idea of creating spaces for others to also be their authentic selves. For me, going to UCLA was the first chance in my life that I had the opportunity to start brand new and create myself. I knew I wanted to find a cause that was something I could focus my full energy on, and that was the fight against HIV/AIDS. I got involved in UCLA Dance Marathon, and dedicating 40 hours of my week as a student to this fight against HIV/AIDS made it clear for me that this wasn't the end of my involvement in this cause. And so when this opportunity arose for me to leave the country for the first time, move to Tanzania, and do work on the ground in rural villages that needed our support, I didn't think twice. The moment I stepped foot in sub-Saharan Africa, I had to slow down. There's a phrase in Swahili, hamna shida. It's, there is no problem. It's actually something that we said every day when something would go wrong or it took 5 times longer to get somewhere, and I took that to heart. For me to have that pivot in Africa so far away while I was discovering that I was gay at the same time was life-changing. I can't express enough how much that meant to me. Currently, as co-president for the UCLA Lambda Alumni Association, I take it seriously that our role is to create that space for authenticity that I think will create even more impact down the line for future generations of LGBTQ students. I don't think participating in UCLA as an alum is a choice. I think in a way it's an obligation. It's a sense of reciprocity that the UCLA community has to support one another. When I was a student, I felt so supported by our alumni, by our staff, by our faculty, and I wanted to continue to play a part. This award to me is not only a recognition of what I've given to this university and what it's given back to me, but also a boost of confidence. And I can't wait to continue to be involved and committed to and passionate about UCLA moving forward for years and years to come.
Good evening, everyone. And thank you, Julian. What a great video. I'm Judy Oley, and I'm Dean of UCLA Anderson School of Management. And it's really my pleasure to present Devin Dakar with the 2018 UCLA Award for Young Alumnus of the Year. Devin, as you saw, is a double Bruin. He earned his bachelor's in American Literature and Culture in 2007 and his MBA at Anderson in 2015. He also earned another master's degree in technology, innovation, and education from that other school out east that begins with an H. We love them too. Today, Devin is a manager in Deloitte's Human Capital Consulting practice and Chief of Staff for Deloitte's Diversity and Inclusion Client Service Center of Excellence. I was lucky to get to know and to work with Devin during his years at Anderson, and I had the privilege of seeing and really experiencing his passion firsthand for nurturing and empowering communities in environments that are not necessarily at the forefront of change. It's no surprise that he's ended up in the corporate world as a driver of strategies that are all about social values and the collective action that can achieve results on behalf of marginalized groups. This has been true of Devin for a long time. Consider what he said, and I still definitely remember hearing this the first time during his 2015 student TED Talk, a week before Anderson launched our inaugural LGBTQ Awareness Week, which now is an annual tradition, and Devin had a big hand in starting. And here's what Devin said. There are 29 states where I could be fired for who I am, and it would be legal to be fired. My personal goal is for every student to graduate Anderson with the language, the knowledge, and the tools to be an active and engaged ally to all marginalized communities as professionals and as citizens. Beyond his work for Deloitte, Devin serves on the board of the Social Impact Fund, is the co-president of UCLA Lambda LGBTQ Alumni Association, and was a 2016 fellow with New Leaders Council. He previously served as co-chair of the UCLA Young Alumni Development Council, leading the group to advance UCLA's philanthropic efforts for key campus priorities, such as scholarships and fellowships. While he was at Anderson, Devin held a number of student leadership positions, in fact, a very large number, including serving on our Student Anderson Association board as co-director of our orientation program for new students, and as co-president of Out at Anderson, where he co-founded the LGBTQ Awareness Week and worked with our marketing and communications team to create Anderson's LGBTQ web portal, which is a very prominent presence on the Anderson website. Devin has pursued diverse, innovative, and ambitious professional and volunteer roles in international public health, local activism, education, media, social impact consulting, and management consulting, all because, in fact, it's built into his DNA, which pushes him to find ways to lift the world for those who are not necessarily operating in the conventional mainstream of societies. I could go on, but I'll mention just one more example of his committed work, which you saw here in the video. After he earned his undergraduate degree from UCLA. Devin lived in Africa, and he did important work with an NGO in rural Tanzania to advance HIV/AIDS education and community health. So, Devin, we look forward to trying to keep up with you on all that you're achieving, and I know all that you will transform in your inspiring life journey. Please join me in congratulating UCLA's 2018 Young Alumnus of the Year, Devin DeKalb.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dean Olian, for those very kind words, and thank you, Chancellor Block, and the many UCLA staff who make this place something amazing every single day. Thank you to the awards committee, first and foremost, for still qualifying me as young. It's been 11 years since I graduated from undergrad, but in all seriousness, for selecting me for this incredible honor. Thank you to the UCLA Lambda Alumni Association Board, I think they're around, for letting me be your co-chair as we work together to promote visibility and community for the Bruin LGBTQ+ family. And thank you, speaking of family, to my parents, grandfather, sister, brother-in-law, and husband for being here today and for supporting me in my inability not to overcommit all the time and tolerating my boundless UCLA pride. And trust me, it is boundless. Today, I don't want to share a story about overcoming adversity. We all have our challenges, but the fact of the matter is my life has been pretty great. Instead, I want to talk about privilege, specifically the privileges that shape the way we move through the world. As a white man in today's society, and let's be real, in most societies, past and present, I live with privileges every day not afforded to many of those around me. Plain and simple, I can walk into a room and the assumptions made about who I am from the few most obvious pieces of my identity will shape the way you interact with me. And that's not fair, because in the world we live in, I benefit from those assumptions, and others are harmed by them. And of course I get it, I've lived it. Being gay today bestows a burden as well, and I'm reminded almost every day of that burden. But I have been the target of those unfair assumptions, but even so, being gay, white, American male means I'm in the privileged class among the queer community. So what can I do about it? Accept it as reality, use it for good. I can, and I do, I hope that I do, give voice to others, lift others up, fight for equality and equity, and challenge so-called truths to change hearts and minds. Being a Bruin is also part of my privilege, our privilege in this room. And it's not just because of the brands or the pedigree or the network and all that jazz, it's the experience. UCLA gave me permission to be myself in a way I never had before. It took time, and I was nervous, but through extracurricular leadership, the classroom, friends, staff, and the values of this campus community, like so many of us, I did not just find myself at UCLA. This university and community helped me to create the person I wanted to be, the person who I am today. When others wonder why I still dedicate so much of my time and energy to UCLA, the answer is simple. UCLA not only shaped me, it is part of me. It is part of my privilege, it is part of my story, and it is part of what I pay forward to others. My values teach me that privilege is no good if we don't use it to help others. So every day I ask myself, as a white, male, American, 32-year-old, gay, queer, vegetarian, atheist, Jewish, ambivert, husband, son, grandson, brother, uncle, dog parent, artist, educator, consultant, activist, Harvard graduate, and Bruin, what can I do to help others that no one else can? That is my unique identity, intersecting, overlapping, sometimes changing, and truly me. So while I have all of your attention, I ask the same of you. What can you do to help others that no one else can? Every day I ask myself how authentically being who I am can make the world a better place. and I hope you'll do the same. Thank you.
While I was applying to UCLA, my family and I were homeless, and it was during the Great Recession. We lost our home a week shy of Thanksgiving. We motel hopped, and then when my dad's credit ran out, we lived in an emergency winter shelter. So this is during my junior year of high school. When families have to prioritize education or survival, survival naturally usually wins out. My dad 100% believed that I was going to college, and if I wanted to shoot for the biggest flagship outside our backyard, I was going to go. My admissions letter to UCLA came while my dad and I were still living at the shelter. UCLA in so many ways was the first home I had, even before my dad and I finally secured housing. Being admitted into a four-year university, being able to build my career here, to make new friends, to get involved in a variety of different student groups, that is what UCLA for me embodied. UCLA meant that my opportunities were limitless and that impossible was just an opinion when I could be here. My UCLA experience would have been vastly different if I had never received the Ehrlich Scholarship. It's not just that I wouldn't have received a scholarship, I would have missed out on a broader range of ruined family opportunities and feeling like I belonged at UCLA and that there was a network here who wanted to help me and support me and whom I could return that favor to. Years later now, I was able to create a book, Scruffy and the Egg, based on the story that my dad and I would tell each other. When we think of kids' literature, we don't think of difficult, heavy topics like poverty and homelessness, but these are real experiences that kids go through. And to be able to continue to advocate for students and for families who are going through this and say that your narrative matters not only validates my experience with my father and me, but also so many other families out there to be able to feel that they have a voice and that there is an effort to make this heard. If I had heard those words, and as I learned about School on Wheels, I would have felt more empowered sooner to reach out and make those inroads. And I would say that's the beauty of School on Wheels gets solved, because they are so vocal and they have a space in advocating for young people and kids who are experiencing this. Receiving the UCLA Award for Community Service, it's a tremendous honor. It is an award that does not belong to me strictly, because all of the community service I have input has been owed to many teams of other friends, people, colleagues who have welcomed me into their spaces to build a community that is caring and compassionate.
Good evening, alumni and friends. My name is Peter Taylor, UCLA class of 1980, and past president of the UCLA Alumni Association. It's a pleasure and a privilege to present the 2018 UCLA Award for Community Service this evening, a distinguished recognition for alums who have made significant contributions to the enrichment of others and the betterment of their community. I met Angela Sanchez 3 years ago when she came to my office for an informational interview at the ECMC Foundation, a national philanthropic organization focused on post-secondary education. At the time, we had just opened the foundation's doors here in Los Angeles, and we were looking for talent with drive and passion. I was struck by her intelligence, character, and a desire to make a difference in the neighborhoods and the communities, both here in Los Angeles and far beyond. So I did what any person with common sense would do. I offered her a job. Since then, I've had the privilege to work with and witness Angela's relentless dedication every day in the office and hear about her work in the communities outside of it. Author, illustrator, motivational speaker, and magician, Angela overcame extraordinary life circumstances to rise to become a leader here at UCLA and continuing now in the broader community. A very special double Bruin, Angela received her bachelor's degree in history and then returned for a Master of Education with an emphasis on student affairs. Among her many accolades, she was a recipient of the prestigious Ehrlich Scholarship and received the UCLA Chancellor's Service Award while an undergraduate. We're so pleased to be recognizing Angela tonight with the alumni counterpart of that award, the UCLA Award for Community Service. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming and congratulating Angela Sanchez.
Thank you, Peter, for that very kind introduction. As you can all tell, I'm extremely proud to work for this Bruin. I'm also honored and humbled to be sharing this space with you today, mostly because someone like me, a first generation and at the time low-income Latina, would not likely, actually would rather have a 12% chance of graduating with a college degree. My chances are probably even slimmer because for my last 2 years of high school, I was homeless. I was one of the 14,000 students living in Los Angeles who were experiencing homelessness. The Great Recession left me and my father without a place to stay. We motel hopped, stayed in cold winter shelters, and eventually landed in a family shelter. One of the things I learned most significantly at this time is when people hear the word homeless, they don't see children. Thanks to the enduring support of my dad, however, I was determined to make it to college, even if many of the basics, such as internet, a desk, good lighting, were not readily available to me. Mine is only one of the countless stories of students scrabbling to escape the exhausting, self-perpetuating cycle of poverty. School on Wheels was my game changer. Based right here in Los Angeles, School on Wheels, Inc. is a nonprofit dedicated to the academic support of K through 12 students experiencing homelessness. Now, when I was a senior, I enrolled in AP Calculus, history major again. So I hit the wall hard and went to my School on Wheels coordinator to match me up with a tutor. School on Wheels delivered on this promise. They not only got me a tutor, they found me a graduate student in astrophysics from Caltech. I literally had a rocket scientist helping me with my math homework. And so, that being said, it's thanks to School on Wheels that I got to have this empowering experience of having a tutor, of having a community at a time when so many other kids in my position are so very vulnerable. As a student at UCLA, I experienced tremendous support from our wonderful alumni donors in the form of scholarship support. And building on my history, I also returned to School on Wheels as a volunteer, creating the first UCLA chapter, first university chapter of undergrad volunteers here. I am now proud to serve on the board of directors for School on Wheels, Inc., and be able to help advocate for more students whose shoes I was in not so long ago. Professionally, I work in the philanthropic sector with Peter, focus on college success and developing other types of post-secondary pathways towards social mobility. I'm fortunate to have risen to a point in my career where I can affect change on a larger scale. I haven't forgotten my roots either. Last year, as you saw, I wrote and illustrated a children's book called Scruffy and the Egg, based on a story that my dad and I invented to talk about our circumstances while homeless. Now, it's a picture book that allows families who are experiencing homelessness to see their circumstances represented in a way that is accessible to children. I share this book with schools, nonprofits, and of course, family shelters. It's because of others' community service that I am now in this position to serve my community. More so on that, we always talk about helping our students beat the odds when we should be changing the odds. Students should, thank you. Aspiring, hardworking students should not have to be lucky to go to college. We need more people like many of you in this room to believe in our talented young people whose resources and acumen are already being tapped. So, as UCLA's Alumni Association, I help kickstart our alumni mentoring program for our scholarship recipients. Now, School on Wheels, in addition, is also scaling its volunteer engagement in digital learning and other opportunities in the name of helping serve Southern California's homeless students. Opportunity to be involved abounds. So, do you have to save the world to make a difference? No. But especially as all of us Bruins know, it's the commitment and your optimism that do. Thank you.
I love building community around big ideas. That is my favorite thing. I love connecting people together, even when they're alone in their cars. They can know someone else is out there learning about things they care about. While I was at UCLA, I was involved with the student news magazines, and I learned how to manage people, how to run a multifaceted organization on a shoestring budget, which is exactly the same skills that I used when I came to KCRW. Public radio is a very unique place to communicate ideas, and I think at its core, it starts with audio. It starts with the human voice, wanting to tell great stories well. There is something so powerful and centering about hearing someone's voice and hearing them tell you something, not read you something. I really love the idea of dropping seeds of interest into people's brains in this really intimate way. You could be in the bathroom or the kitchen or with your children or in a car. I think that it kind of pushes the notion of what community engagement is. And I think that knowing what's happening and being aware is the key element to engagement in any community. UCLA means opportunity, diversity, accessibility. Even though it's very difficult to get in, I think it is one of the most impressive public institutions in this country. When we compare things, you automatically assume that things that are private are better. And UCLA proves that's not the case. And that's what makes me proud to be a Bruin. I have the pleasure of getting to mentor a lot of UCLA students, and we often talk about careers. It's frustrating because you think, I went to school, I got this degree, I did this internship, where's my job? And it doesn't always work like that. The most important lesson I've learned as a professional is that everything comes down to people. Achieving things is not impossible. If you feel like you don't know what you're doing and feel like you don't belong, it's very likely you're just like everybody else. And that should never stop you from doing anything. To be recognized by this giant institution that is so superlative in so many ways is just really, I can't believe it. I hope I deserve it.
So good evening. My name is Eric Shaw. I'm UCLA class of 1998, 20 years. And a member of the Alumni Association Board of Directors. I have the great privilege of honoring Jennifer Farrow, our 2018 recipient of the UCLA Award for Public Service. The Public Service Award recognizes an individual who has demonstrated a sustained commitment to the needs of the public sector, exceptional leadership in cultivating civic engagement, and who contributed meaningfully to their community. As president of KCRW, Jennifer's impact is felt in personal and broad ways. In person, online, and on the air, Jennifer has worked to transform KCRW from Southern California's flagship national public radio affiliate to a worldwide digital content distributor that builds community through discovery of music, news, and culture. Under her leadership, KCRW creates 100 hours of original programming a week and will finish a $48 million capital campaign that will provide the home of the institution's first ever standalone state-of-the-art facility. Leading this effort, Jennifer will advance KCRW's ability to increase public access to news, culture, music, and events. Recognizing her impact, Jennifer was chosen as one of Los Angeles' game-changing women leaders who make an impact in LA by Los Angeles Magazine. At UCLA, Jennifer's impact on numerous Bruins as a mentor to students through UCLA One is helping to grow our community's next generation of leaders. So please join me in congratulating this year's winner of the UCLA Award for Public Service, Jennifer Farrow.
Take a picture of you and your wife. Pictures first. Oh, okay.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. This is really an honor. I want to thank the Alumni Association. It was a surprise and just such a welcome one. And I want to just also say thank you and introduce my husband, my mom, my kids are over there, Akio, one of my great friends and donors to KCRW, Karen Williams, who's a fantastic board member for KCRW, plus 5 of the most incredible young people who are UCLA Bruins, Marbella, Brianna, Caesar, Haley, and Andres. A couple of them are graduating. They're at table 9. They need jobs, and they're excellent people. There's Caesar. Yeah, just go talk to them. I'll send them out. They're truly excellent people. And I'm blessed to be able to be a mentor to students. I love giving advice. I just think it's amazing that someone wants to take it or hear it. So I love this UCLA One program. I'd really highly recommend it to you. I am so touched to get the Public Service Award because, you know, one thing that my parents did was they really, we were not grown up to think about money as a source of achievement. It was really about giving back and about the values that make up public service. And so I feel so lucky that every day I get to wake up and go to a job that gives me purpose. So my purpose and my job are the same thing. But it does tell me that, you know, if you can wake up every day and have purpose, then all the other things that bother you in your life will disappear. And I want to say thank you to UCLA for a couple of things. So when I got here, it was a mistake. I got into UC Santa Barbara. I did not break 1,000 on the SAT. I was not a bright bulb. I mean, I thought I was, but you know. But I got in by a fluke. They were like, we invited too many over at Santa Barbara. We didn't invite enough at UCLA. Would you come to UCLA? And I was like, yeah, this is so great. And then I got here and I was like, oh my God, I don't belong here. And then I want to thank UCLA for a couple of things that I received that first year. I had no parking, I had no classes, and I had no student housing. I got parking tickets like crazy. Mom, you would agree that happened? Yes. And I want to tell you that taught me something. So first of all, let me tell you this other little story that my mom will also cringe at. I remember going to UCLA, having those challenges, and I worked at Warehouse Records for like $5 an hour, and I'm like, Mom, I'm going to quit UCLA, and I'm going to go in the Warehouse Records management program. What do you think about that? And she was like, uh-huh, and didn't say anything else. And I told it to other people, and they were like, you're an idiot. Thank God, Mom. Thanks for not saying that was a dumb idea. And I didn't go into the Warehouse Records, which you've never heard of because it doesn't exist anymore. So it's a good idea that I stayed in school. But I want to thank UCLA for making my life really hard because it taught me something. It said, you are not owed anything. What do you have to give? What do I owe? And that's what I learned in that first struggle, that first year of struggle, and that second year of struggle. And then I found my way to UCLA Student Media, and I found my people, and I found my purpose and passion. And then everything kind of flowed from there. So I feel very lucky, again, because I found purpose. So I want to thank you all for honoring me tonight, and I want to thank my family and my mentees and my friends. Thanks.
It's just a great university. It's got academics, athletics, and strong people and teaming relationships that have been important for me. When I started at UCLA, I was on the Navy Reserve Officer Training Corps NROTC scholarship, and it enabled me to go to UCLA. And that also set me up with my Navy time, where I went in for 4 years and stayed for 26. And that has helped me to give back because people help me at UCLA, and I feel strongly that the opportunity to help new students and transfer students come to UCLA is vitally important, and we've had that as one of our strong goals in the San Diego network. We've worked to endow scholarships, which is our main focus of our activities, and it gives me a chance to work with fellow Bruins in a variety of roles. Some of the favorite memories of the network are the working together of our board members and San Diego Bruins. We try to have sports events, cultural events, professors coming down, and community service, so we sort of run the gamut. but to bring in new Bruins who get a chance to touch campus, although from afar, is very important. My wife Jill is also a UCLA graduate and has been very active also in the San Diego network. And most of the occasions have been joint occasions where we're both involved, and it's meant a lot to be able to support UCLA and have Jill supporting me. I've been able to work with a number of younger Bruins to encourage them to get involved in UCLA. It's very important as alumni to be able to give back to the students and show what we have gained from UCLA, which is just boundless, and then be able to pass that on to them and hopefully continue to light fires under them to be as passionate about UCLA as I am. I was very humbled and honored to receive the UCLA Volunteer of the Year Award. It meant a lot to me because I love UCLA and spend a lot of my time supporting UCLA. It brings me back home.
Good evening, fellow Bruins. You may notice that your program says that Mitra Best is going to be the presenter of this award. I'm not Mitra. My name is Vito Costanzo. I'm filling in for Mitra, who wasn't feeling well. I am a member of the class of 1984 and also a member of the board of our Alumni Association. I am honored to present the 2018 Alumni Volunteer of the Year Award. This award was established in 2015. It honors alumni who demonstrate the highest loyalty, dedication, and commitment to our community here at UCLA. Our honoree, Mark Stull, has shown service to UCLA that began as an undergraduate when he was earning his bachelor's degree in public service and political science. His distinguished naval career included receiving the Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps Scholarship while a student here. After his military service, Mark embarked on a career in management consulting, providing support to the U.S. Navy in Washington, D.C. and San Diego. He is currently an active board leader with the UCLA Alumni San Diego Network. He serves as vice chair of the San Diego Chancellor's Society Board, and he initiates and sponsors many events for UCLA alumni and friends. This has resulted in significant financial support for the Network Scholarship Fund in San Diego. In fact, this fund that Mark helped establish was among the first to achieve endowment status and is still growing. So please join me in congratulating our Volunteer of the Year awardee, Mark Stull.
Well, thank you, Vito. And I will try to project. I have a lousy voice, so we'll do with the best they can. Chancellor Block, honorees, fellow volunteers and alumni staff, as Vito said, I'm very humbled that I was notified of this award and surprised, of course, and very honored. UCLA has played a big part in my life and continues to do so, and I was very pleased to be recognized on behalf of the UCLA Alumni Volunteers and as representative of the San Diego Alumni Network. When I started at UCLA, I knew no one, as I was the only member of my high school class in Salinas to head to UCLA. I quickly found friends in the dorm, go Dykstra, and in the NROTC unit, go Navy. Many of these acquaintances remain my good friends today and are with us tonight, and we're honored to have you. My wife, Jill, as I said, is also an alumni gold member, graduated from UCLA with me, and shares the passion for our university. I feel fortunate that our kids, Jonathan and Whitney and son-in-law Peter, are able to join Jill and I tonight. Whitney and Jonathan learned the 8 clap at an early age and supported us in all our endeavors. We're now working on the 8 clap for our grandchildren. Serving in the Navy, we lived out of California from 1976 to 1999. When we moved back to San Diego in '99, we thought we'd never been so close to campus. So we immediately bought season tickets to basketball and football and joined the alumni network in San Diego. Soon our volunteer roles expanded as we were both serving on the network board, and as Vito said, I'm still on the board today. One of my roles is to serve as a liaison between the network and Chancellor Society to ensure we get the word out to all about the upcoming UCLA activities and how we can support them. We've been blessed with having an active campus connection in San Diego with visiting professors coming down once or twice a year, and they've all been fantastic and a reminder of what our university has to offer. As you know, UCLA is a leader in so many fields, from Operation Mend to robotics to black hole theory and a multiple of others. It makes volunteering very easy. As you've probably heard, the main focus of our network has been scholarships, and we're proud to say the network of San Diego scholarships are now endowed to more than $800,000, and our goal is $1 million in endowed scholarships soon. And I must correct the script just slightly. I did not start these scholarship funds. They were established long before we moved to San Diego, but we have continued to make them grow. I was fortunate to have great alumni mentors in San Diego, especially Eric Julien, Marcy Rothman, and Steve Klosterman, and they all showed me how to make a difference for UCLA. I'm carrying forward this mentorship and have enjoyed working with young Bruin alumni in San Diego in helping them get placed in industry. And they in turn have helped other fellow Bruins, so the membership keeps expanding in multiple layers. And one of our mentees is here tonight, so I'm pleased that Nicole was able to come up. We continue to support UCLA in every way we can. It's in our genes now, I think. And UCLA greatness is a result of a lot of work by all of you here tonight. So thank you. It is my real pleasure to be awarded the Alumni Volunteer of the Year.
Marathon, 26.2 miles is a long way, and you hit a wall, it's inevitable, but in the dark moments, you realize what your true potential is. Growing up in Eritrea, it was difficult in the middle of a war that lasted for 30 years. When you see that, it shapes who you are. Don't take life for granted, and everything that comes in front of you is a great opportunity. Coming to the United States in 1987, slow process, learning English, learning the culture, and assimilate to the country. And we didn't know what the future held, but we were determined to work hard, and hard work does pay off. My gift for running was discovered in 7th grade PE class, when the teacher said, if you run the mile seriously, you're gonna get A or B. Basically, I just took off and surprised myself and the coach, and he looked at his clock and said 5:20, and got me the A, and I fell in love with running. I was recruited to UCLA in 1993, and I went for 2 reasons, academics and athletics. It was the best combination of school, and my parents always emphasized education, kid of life, and I'm so happy to get my degree from UCLA, and running never took priority before that. When I finished 4th at the London Olympics, that gave me hope that I still got a chance to win New York or Boston. The victory of the Boston 2014 means a lot to me, because it's not about me, but for the running community, for the Boston Strong, because what happened in 2013 was a catastrophic moment for all of us. In fact, I was there. I met that afternoon, a goal of mine to be able to win the race for the people. And 2 weeks shy of my 39th birthday, and I was not the favorite by any means. It was going to be my last Boston Marathon, and to be able to prove the victory was the most meaningful thing in my career. And that 7th grade PE class that I ran was a solidification. I was on this earth to be a runner and have impact on people's lives. From John Wood and the great basketball coach from UCLA, success is a peace of mind knowing that you have done the best that you're capable of doing. And it's not the medal you win, it's not the victory you have. You have to say, you know what, I finished 10th, but today was my best. And I'm glad I finished it. Maybe next time, if I work harder, I really believe that success is the preparation. It takes a village to raise a child, and definitely I'm that child. So I'd like to thank everyone who were a positive contributor to my life and my success. And to be acknowledged with a professional achievement means a lot, and I'm touched by it. Thanks so much.
Greetings, Bruin family. My name is Josh Johnson, Bruin class of 98. Got another one. So very honored to introduce my track teammate and friend for the UCLA Award for Professional Achievement. Widely acclaimed as one of the greatest runners of our time, Meb Keflezighi is the only athlete in history to win the New York Marathon, the Boston Marathon, and a place on 4 U.S. Olympic teams. Meb has proudly proclaimed that he is more than a world-class runner, and that couldn't be any truer. Adding Christian, family man, author, speaker, businessman, humanitarian, and mentor to his list of passionate accomplishments. Transcending his own athletic achievements, Meb maintains an unwavering commitment to helping others go the distance in their own lives, physically, professionally, personally, and spiritually. From his humble beginnings in East Africa to his role as a leader in the resurgence of American distance running, Meb is sought after. He's a sought-after motivational speaker and ambassador for some of the world's most prestigious organizations and companies. Retiring in 2017 after countless marathons and crossings of finish lines, Meb oversees the Meb Maintaining Excellent Balance Foundation, committed to promoting youth, health, education, and fitness. Meb graduated from UCLA with a BA in Communication Studies. Please join me in congratulating a Bruin worthy of this award, Meb Keflezighi.
Good evening. Thanks, Josh, for that great introduction. It's a great honor to be back at UCLA. Thank you, Chancellor Block and the UCLA Alumni Association Board of Directors for this amazing recognition. I am honored to celebrate tonight with my families, friends, and mentors. Creating the future takes effort, planning, and dedication to personal excellence. It means making use of your opportunities, maximizing your talent, and demanding the best of yourself. Most of you know that I have accomplished a lot with my running. Through many blessings, I'm the only athlete to win Olympic medals in the marathon and win both New York City and Boston Marathon. When I was a child and even began running, I didn't know where running would take me. I began far from where I am now. Let me share briefly my life journey. Imagine living in a country during a war and without a sense of safety. Imagine not being sure of what tomorrow will bring. Imagine living in a fear, not only of war, but also of an uncertain future. That's how my life began. I grew up in a big family, small village in Eritrea, which is found northeast of Africa. When I was born in 1975, Eritrea was in the middle of a 30-year war of independence. In my village, we did not have electricity. We did not have running water. Imagine being a little kid who has to walk 2 to 3 miles to the well and carry water home so that I can have water to drink. Imagine then having to walk another 2 to 3 miles with your older brothers to collect wood so you can make fire to cook your food and boil your water. And if there was enough water left, you can wash your body. Every day was a laborious process to simply put food in our mouth. Our focus was on a daily task of survival instead of pursuing an education that would set the foundation for an improved lifestyle. In Eritrea, I was one of the 6 brothers and sisters whose future was unpredictable. No opportunity to go to school or play safely. Soldiers were everywhere with guns that threatened our sense of security. Landmines were scattered all over the country. No room to move freely. As a child, I witnessed the horrific effect of war. As a child, I was sometimes so hungry that I ate dirt. As a child, I was afraid that my father would be imprisoned or killed on believing for the country's independence movement. My family and I faced war, famine, and drought. Survival was difficult, but our parents wanted us more than just survive. My dad was the only one of his 6 siblings to go to school, and he was only able to go to 7th grade education. He studied under the only light in the house, a lantern. Although he never went to high school or college, he's one of the most intelligent people I know. Similarly, my mother never had a formal education, but she's one of the wisest people I know. Our parents understood the value of education and wanted that for their children. They wanted their children to have a better future, waiting for better circumstances to come to them. My dad had to walk over 225 miles to Sudan. We were separated for 5 years. We reunited in Italy and lived there for a year and a half. On October 21st, 1987, my parents and then 7 siblings arrived in the United States. We didn't speak English, so my dad had woke us about 4:30 a.m. to learn English before we went to school. I was dedicated to school and learning English. Life wasn't easy. My classmates made fun of my Italian-style clothes that were tight-fitting. They also made fun of my curly afro, which I wish I could still have. I was shy and didn't have friends. In life and in running, it's not where you start, but how strong you finish. Life, education, and marathon have a lot in common. Life and education are not a sprint, but a marathon. They require a lot of patience. To succeed, in the process, they build character and teach you lessons about humility that define what you are made of. They are not about shortcuts or instant gratification. Some people call my family a classic illustration of the American dream. It is a dream that came with hard work and persistence. 9 of my siblings have graduated prestigious colleges such as UCLA, UCSD, Berkeley, and Stanford. My siblings hold degrees in a variety of fields, including medicine, electrical engineering, business, communication, and education. When I was a student athlete at UCLA on athletic scholarship, I worked harder for my communication studies than I did for my sport. I valued education, and I understood that not everyone has a chance to go to school. Plus, as an athlete, you are just one injury away from being sidelined. Life is full of obstacles. It is your job to overcome the path to the future you want to create. I didn't win every race I entered, but I learned from every race I competed. Creating a future takes effort, planning, and dedication. I always tell people, run to win. It doesn't necessarily mean to win a full race, but it means to make the effort to win in whatever situation you face. It means to get the best out of yourself in all that you do. In order to run to win, you must enter the race. You must develop the necessary skills that make winning possible. You must hold on to your dreams when obstacles are on your path. You must believe you can win when others say you can't. You must get up when you have fallen down. You must work harder, smarter, and stronger to reach the finish line. And in the end, you will achieve your dreams. Thank you so much for this prestigious award. I am so honored to be a Bruin, and may God bless.
UCLA means tradition, diversity, access, and opportunity.
In order for UCLA to stay a top university, I believe that they need to be diverse because a lot of the education at UCLA occurs outside of the classroom, which is the different type of people that you meet.
Since my time here on campus, the student experience at UCLA has widely changed. There was the great drop in the number of students on campus because of Proposition 209, and so that was kind of a wake-up call for everybody within the UC system. There wasn't community on campus here for African American students, but what we've seen is that UCLA has kind of bounced back. The UCLA Black Alumni Association helps to narrow the gap of representation of African American students on campus in a number of different ways.
We've helped increase the amount of monies raised for African American students to try to get more African American enrollment at UCLA.
We try to be involved as mentors with kids through the K-12 system, directly targeting students of color so that they can come on campus at an early age and understand what's required of them to get admitted to UCLA.
Our goal is to one day make it where every African American who's admitted to UCLA will automatically get a full ride.
So we're building more of a community here for African Americans, which I think is very important as we talk about this narrative of diversity at UCLA.
When it comes to UCLA Black alumni, there's a whole lot of them.
Really no other school in the country matches us in terms of African American legacy.
I'd like to thank UCLA Alumni Association for recognizing us. We don't do it for the recognition, of course, but it's great to be recognized because it can only help us recruit more people.
We want to make sure that UBAA plays a big role working with the university, but also being an advocate for the African American community here at UCLA. And if we can do that over the next 50 years, that would be a great thing.
Good evening. I'm Christine Simmons, and for the next 5 hours, I am president of your UCLA Alumni Association. I have the honor to pass the torch to Ms. Cheryl Lott, who will then take over for me, and I'll go on to be UC Regent Designate. However, I'm so excited. Bobby and I were just over there reflecting on the work that this amazing network has done. And it's so emotional for me. But established in 2015, the UCLA Award for Network of the Year honors an alumni network with outstanding contributions to the community. A network's organizational virtues includes its strength in its formation, its membership growth, retention, involvement, creative and quality programming, effective communications, successful fundraising initiatives, which I think we heard a little bit about there, and committed leadership. A network receives this honor must have demonstrated the support for the overall mission of UCLA: education, research, and service. There are 141 groups that comprise the UCLA Alumni Network program, something we're very proud of. 80 regional networks globally, 18 professional networks, 33 affinity networks, and 10 diversity networks. The network we are honoring epitomizes all of these accolades and more. We are so proud. I am so proud, because this is where I came from. We're so proud to honor the UCLA Black Alumni Association with the Network of the Year Alumni Association Award. I have more. There's more. I know. It's exciting. I know. I'm excited too. Founded in 1968, UBAA's leadership. I know. No, come back, Bobby. Come back, Bobby. Stand here with me. Okay, as you've always stood with me. You don't understand this, man. All of the Black alumni have stood with me, and I'm just so honored. Founded in 1968, UBAA's leadership traces back to the former Los Angeles mayor, Bruin alumnus, the illustrious Tom Bradley. And the efforts, yes. And the efforts that he and others like Larry Holyfield, Herschel Ramsey, and former UCLA Vice Chancellor Winston Dobie. Yes, give it up for Winston. Who together initiated the effort to organize alumni of color. Celebrating 50 years of service this year, UBAA has committed 5 decades of leadership in advancing their vision to achieve and maintain social, economic, political, and educational equality by providing a vehicle to harness and channel the power of African American alumni and the community at large. Since 2007, over 500 donors have participated in UBA's scholarship program. Isn't that fantastic? More importantly, those efforts have raised more than $3.4 million and awarded to over 700 African American and Black students here at UCLA. And now I am pleased to invite the president of the UCLA Black Alumni Association, my dear friend, my mentor, a leader, a gentleman, Bobby Grace.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Chancellor, Ms. Block, Julie Sina, and the Alumni Association. Thank you so much for recognizing us. We, as stated, we're just one of several networks that the UCLA Alumni Association is proud to have connected to it, and we're just so grateful to be able to stand here and represent all of the networks because we recognize the great work that you do. We also want to extend congratulations to all of the honorees today. I know that the work that you do, not only on behalf of UCLA, but in the community, inspires all Bruins. And so it's just great to be in this room and get re-energized by seeing all the great work that you're doing, not only here at UCLA, but in the community, and that's so important. I will say, Meb, that at one time I also had an afro, and that those days are long and gone, but I've always been inspired by you. I also ran track at UCLA, definitely not on your level. But I always enjoy getting up on Sunday mornings and watching you win races, and so that's very important to me. So 1968, we've been in existence as a alumni association since that watershed year, the assassinations of Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy, the continuation of the Vietnam War, going to the moon, all of those things kind of mark 1968, and it's hard to imagine that a group of individuals who were one of the few early graduates of UCLA would come up with the idea of starting an alumni association, but then again, not really. We were talking today with a group of African American undergraduates at the Los Angeles Tennis Center, and they were sharing with us their ideas about how the our alumni association and this group of students could collaborate more. And one of our former alumni association presidents, Manla Kaise, and it's a good opportunity for me to recognize all of the UBAA volunteers and officers who are here. Please stand up. And so we were talking about how UCLA at the undergraduate level has more student organizations than any school in the country, and is very proud of that. And that same energy and drive just naturally went to the Alumni Association. So we have a large number of alumni networks. And we have been singularly focused on diversity and trying to promote diversity. And that's what the Alumni Association does. It tries to promote diversity in association with the University of California and UCLA under the direction of Chancellor Block. And we were so pleased over the last 3 years that we have had the largest numbers of African American admitted students in the history of the school. And obviously that's done or has been achieved by the hard work of the Chancellor and his staff, including Vice Provost Yolanda Copeland Morgan, but it's also where we're fortunate to have a group of volunteers and officers and board members that have been laser focused on trying to make sure that there is an African American presence here at UCLA. We understand that UCLA could not be the institution that it is without the flavor and contributions of every color, creed here at this university, and we want to play a big part in that. And so as I wrap up, I would say that it's also important to us as a network to partner and collaborate with our other alumni networks. And so we're here to say that we're here for you. We're here to not only provide advice and along with the great work that Patricia Nguyen and David Morgan do, but we want to be a resource for you. But we also want to program and do networking with you, because that's the whole thing about the UCLA Alumni Association, is promoting diversity. And I've had an opportunity. My whole adult life, I've been involved in some way with the UCLA Alumni Association. So I was on the board as a student, and then I joined the board very early on after I graduated from school. So I can't even remember a time that shows you I'm getting old. I can't remember a time that I wasn't involved with the UCLA Alumni Association. So on behalf of all of our volunteers, we like to say that we're all volunteers, and you guys know what that means. On behalf of all of our volunteers and all of our alums, thank you so much for this award.
UCLA, as a leading research and academic university, has an incredible role in brain health because we are shaping the minds of the students who come here.
We didn't really get very active at all until our daughter decided she wanted to go to UCLA. Our son already was living with schizophrenia, and we said, let's go to UCLA and try to do something there.
The UCLA Depression Grand Challenge gives us a lot of opportunities to touch people's lives.
What we learned from the scientists, we can talk about in our everyday life with people who have a lived experience with depression.
Many people don't realize that depression is the #1 illness in the world and the leading cause of adult disability.
And so we encourage all of them to be open and deal with it just as they would any other illness.
And UCLA, with the firm support of Chancellor Block, has really not only stepped forward, but is leading the world in this effort.
We all live with strengths and weaknesses. What I advise young people to do when they first find out they have an illness, build on the good things in your life, and we diminish our weaknesses as much as we can.
Brandon was recently asked if he could come back in another life, would he do it without this illness?
He said, I wouldn't want to because this has helped me so much become who I am. And now I can help others in a way that I would have never been able to before.
Success, however you define it, is really only a beginning, and we think it's both your opportunity and your obligation to give back, to help people that are less fortunate. And it's really critical that we all get behind UCLA and philanthropic causes that can make the world a better place. Getting the Alumni of the Year award is obviously an incredible honor for us. I mean, we think back in 1962 when we showed up here, and this would be the farthest thing from our idea that we would be receiving this award, not only as an individual, but as a couple.
We know there are 500,000 other UCLA alumni around the world, and it's just incredible to us that we're getting it, and also incredible for the cause of brain health. And so we're grateful for this award.
It's great to be a Bruin. Go Bruins.
So I personally asked to be part of this because I just love the work that this family does. They're absolutely phenomenal. I am pleased to welcome Chancellor Block to the stage to join me in presenting the Edward A. Dixon Alumni of the Year Award. Yes, we get to do this together. Yes. So the Alumni of the Year Award is UCLA's oldest and highest alumni tribute, bestowed annually since 1946 upon distinguished alumni in recognition of exceptional merit. In the words of Regent Dixon and co-founder of UCLA with Carol Moore, the recipient is to be an individual who has rendered a special and outstanding service to campus, has brought a great honor and distinction to the university and our community, and represents the highest caliber of commitment to UCLA. Past honorees have included Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Arthur Ashe, Tim Robbins, Francis Ford Coppola, Carol Burnett, Agnes DeMille, John Wooden, and Jackie Robinson. Applauding our 2018 recipients for their exceptional impact and contributions, we received congratulatory letters from prominent dignitaries, Congressman Mike Thompson, Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi, and Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom. We are so honored to have Chancellor Block with us here to help us present this award.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Christine, and what an evening. I'm listening to stories of people that absolutely live the UCLA values, and clearly we can change the world if we have individuals like we're hearing from tonight. So tonight, it's really now an honor to present the UCLA Alumni of the Year Award to two devoted Bruins, leaders and visionary philanthropists, Garen and Sherry Staglin, and a wonderful video we just saw. As it showed, Garen and Sherry met while attending UCLA in the 1960s. And campus was a bit different then. For example, this wasn't here. Although I find it hard to believe we ever lived without the Luskin Center. But like many students of the day, Garen and Sherry had big dreams for their future. Together, they envisioned building a successful and thriving business to share with their family. Sherry earned a bachelor's degree in international relations, and Garen a bachelor's in engineering. By the mid-1980s, their dream to own a family business was realized with the founding of the Staglin Family Vineyard in Napa Valley. And some of you have had Staglin wines. And for those of you that haven't, try them. It's a treat. It's a special treat. Garen, Sherry, and their children, Brandon and Shannon, are all steadfastly committed to the family motto, great wines for great causes. For those who know them, it's clear that the Staglins bring their entrepreneurial spirit to their philanthropy as well. They are passionate advocates for understanding and promoting brain health. Garen and Sherry are instrumental leaders in the UCLA Depression Grand Challenge. It takes extraordinary effort to make these large research efforts move forward. It takes a lot of volunteers, and they're leading this effort, and we're so thankful for that. It's an ambitious campus-wide effort that aims to cut the burden of depression in half by 2050. So it's truly a grand challenge and a grand idea. They've also generously supported UCLA faculty and student research through many years of support, including the Staglin Family Chair in Psychology, the Staglin Family Music Festival Center for Brain and Behavioral Health, the Depression Grand Challenge Project Fellows Program, the UCLA Staglin Center for Cognitive Neuroscience, and the Psychosis Prevention Center. Really an extraordinary range of philanthropy focused on brain health. But there's more. So Garen also serves, and this is not trivial, as the co-chair of our historic centennial campaign, underway and doing well, and we really appreciate his effort. And Sherry is an emerita member of the UCLA Foundation Board of Directors, so they really are full-time volunteers in so many ways. But their generosity extends far beyond UCLA. Since they began farming the vineyard in 1985, the Staglins have donated and raised hundreds of millions of dollars for charities, including the Music Festival for Brain Health. They use their vineyard effectively, they weaponize it in a sense for philanthropy, and they bring influential people together all the time, regularly, to support important areas in mental health, brain health research. So now in its 24th year, the revered festival at Staglin Family Vineyard has raised funds for awareness for mental health, resulting in research and treatments that have already helped thousands of people. Another plug, if you have not gone to the music festival at the Staglin Vineyard, I recommend that as well. The wine and the festival, both. Right? So the Music Festival for Brain Health supports One Mind, an organization co-founded by Garen and Sherry that aims to radically accelerate cures for brain illnesses and injuries by supporting groundbreaking scientific research. These are just a few of the ways that Garen and Sherry really are changing our world for the better. It's a point of pride that UCLA can claim a small part in bringing this inspiring couple together. They met here. So please join me in saluting Garen and Sherry Staglin for their incredible leadership, and their recognition as the recipients of the 2018 Edward A. Dixon Alumni of the Year Award.
Thank you. Let's go over here and get this picture, huh?
All right.
Yeah. Thanks.
I was going to say a few words, but Jean, you already said all those words. Thank you so much for a wonderful introduction. And I want to thank our son, Brandon Staglin, and his wife, Nancy, for flying down here to be with us. And Brandon did go to Dartmouth, but he did get into UCLA, but he went to Dartmouth anyway. And Shannon, our daughter, came down here for us, too, and she did go to UCLA. So she's an alum. And I want to thank our good friends, too, for coming to honor us in this way. It's really humbling, and it is an honor to receive this for the first time as a couple, the Alumni Award of the Year. We are so grateful to UCLA for the confidence and the education that it gave us and that allowed us to succeed in businesses and to turn around and give back to causes that we care about. And our main focus has always been, since 1995, brain health. And that's when we started our music festival for brain health. But we're proud that through our ability to raise funds, we've been able to fund research in neuroscience and in finding the answers for the causes and the cures for these devastating illnesses that have touched so many. Since the 2000s, we've been able to institute a program to identify youth at risk for having a severe mental illness, catching it early, getting treatment for that child, and keeping them from converting to psychosis or to some other severe mental illness. And we've been successful in 60% of the cases. UCLA led the way. And now UCLA has taken on the grand challenge of depression, which affects hundreds of thousands, millions of people throughout the world. It's the #1 cause of disability in the world of adults. And as a result, UCLA has taken this on and is trying to study 100,000 people to determine what are the causes. Are these genetic? Yes, we know they are. What are they? Let's find the answers to fix them. And it's just been a great thing for Garen and me to be involved in this Depression Grand Challenge and to see that this university is fearless to take this on. And we thank you all very much. Please come September 15th to our music festival for brain health at our vineyard, and you will be able to have the joy that Garen and I have of giving back to.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Jean. Let me also start by thanking and recognize again all the awardees tonight. I mean, their dedication and service is what makes UCLA great, and you see it in so many ways. Devin, Angela, Jennifer, Mark, Meb, and Bobby, on behalf of the Black Alumni Association, you have our sincere thanks and all of you in the room, so please give them all a round of applause. Please do that, right? 56 years ago, I showed up on this campus. This is before the 405 freeway. Of course, there was no Poly Pavilion. But I came here as a product of the Sputnik generation. And for those of you who are much younger, you would not even know what that was. I think you may have heard of it. But we had this threat of the Russians going to be taking over space. We now have other Russian threats. But at that time, It was, if you were a red-blooded American, you had to go become an engineer because we had to do something about that. And I was very fortunate to be able to go to school here at UCLA as an engineering major. I even then had this optimistic idea of dreaming big. And so I heard about they had a basketball program here, so I was a walk-on on the freshman team and actually played for and with John Wooden, which is one of the great accomplishments of my old time. I could jump over the net, so I mean over the rim, so it was okay. I did all right. But talking about thinking big and being ambitious, 54 years ago, I had a blind date with this lady beside me here, and that has really been dreaming big for me, and has resulted on things beyond my expectations. We're honored by all of you coming here tonight, and as Sherry said, especially for having our son Brandon and his wife Nancy, our wonderful daughter Shannon, class of '01. Sherry mentioned the Depression Grand Challenge. We're also honored by having members of that leadership committee who are spending their own time dedicating themselves. Robina Riccitello's here, Lori Gordon and her husband, Steve. These people are really making a difference as we move forward with this. And two other people I want to recognize is Lisa Paulson and Tom Kyoto, who are working very closely with us to bring the same visibility and outreach that cancer has benefited from with the Stand Up to Cancer campaign. So stand by for seeing something that's going to transform the awareness and the reduction of stigma for brain health very shortly. We've been blessed in so many ways. Not only this marriage of 50 years, which will happen next week. Thank you very much, dear. Yeah. Our son and our daughter and the two grandchildren we have now, which give us incredible joy and quite a good bit of pain at times, but in any event, they are a whole bunch of fun. But I think importantly, we are so blessed that we've been born in a country where hard work and dedication has paid off. And we have worked hard and it has paid off. But we believe that success, however you define it, and you all have had it in your own ways, is really only a beginning. And we hope you will take this idea that you can use that success to help make the world a better place. And in whatever level or how much you can do it, UCLA has empowered you with that optimism and that ability to actually make the world a better place. We're privileged to have the chance to co-chair the Centennial Campaign. Think of it, 100 years old UCLA is going to be in 2019. Isn't that amazing? And we're so fortunate that Gene has been our leader for 10 years now? 10 years, right? Almost. 11 years. And he's not going anywhere soon. We're going to make sure of that. So we've had great success so far, but we have much work to do. We have much more work to do for UCLA. We have much more work to do for brain health. We both believe that 70 is the new 50, so we have plenty of time. We want you to join us all. Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right. Wow. What an incredible evening, right? Optimism, hope, inspiration, and impact. Truly bettering lives, families, neighbors, and communities all around the world for all. That's UCLA. That's Bruin. We celebrated 7 exceptional citizens, 1 remarkable organization. Together, that's 8. As in. So what I'd like to do is, before I invite you to join me in one of our favorite traditions, I'd like to invite back to the stage our award recipients and their presenters, along with Gene and Carol. Come on up, Angela. So as they're coming up here, there's one more group I want to recognize before we begin our clap. I started out tonight by recognizing and asking you to acknowledge our alumni board. There's another group here tonight that I'm just so humbled every day to have the privilege of calling colleagues. So I'd like to ask all of our alumni staff are in the room, if you could stand up and allow us to recognize you. Not only do we have the best alumni in the universe, I think we have the best alumni team in the globe, so thank you. So now we invite all of you to stand as you are able. And Angela, I'm going to task you. No pressure. Okay. Let's conclude the night as we do an 8 clap. Angela? All right. Ready?
Ready?
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you. UCLA, UCLA, fight, fight, fight. And we're not quite done. We have one more tradition to conclude our alumni dinner. And what I'd like to do is to invite Karen McLean to join us up front and also acknowledge Karen for her work in leading, putting together this fabulous evening tonight. So, as Karen comes forward, please join us in doing what Bruins do in singing our alma mater. Inspiration from today and continue to do good in the world. Take care and go Bruins.